In this segment, I'm going to review the different options under the View drop-down menu, and that's found up here at the top of the workspace under View, the View drop-down menu. And so we have all these different options, and I thought I would just show, how they appear and how they make our design appear. And the first thing I'm going to notice is, see how they have little check boxes, so we can tell what is turned on and off by whether or not they have a checkbox on them. Now, maybe what I'll do is just let go of that for a moment and scroll in a little bit more closely to this embroidery. This is just something that I was been playing with in the previous couple of segments, this lettering. And what you can see here is that our thread has that sort of three-dimensional realistic look. And if I was to look right now under the View drop-down menu, we can see that my 3D preview is turned on. If I click on it again, it will turn it off. And when I turned it off, what we went to is more of like computer-generated lines. It doesn't have that realistic 3D view to it any longer. Now, looking at the View drop-down menu, so we can see 3D previews turned off. What is turned on is outline design, stitches, and stitch points. Now, just as an example, stitch points, that doesn't show. If you go to 3D preview, the stitch points get hidden. Let me show you what that looks like. 3D preview, you don't see any stitch points. And if you look under the View drop-down menu, stitch points is checked on, but it's grayed out. It doesn't work when you're in 3D preview. You don't see stitch points. If you turn 3D preview off, you can see your stitch points. And what that means is, if I zoom really closely, those little white line is actually, if you look really closely, showing each individual needle penetration by the way of making a mark. It's needle marks. And so if I look here where you've gotten like some specialized sort of half stitches going around the bottom of this fancy letter V, see there's all the needle penetrations that it took to do that. So I can turn that off. View, stitch points. So it leaves the stitches, just took away the needle points that were there. I also have the ability to turn on and off the stitches. And see, it just leaves the color red behind the lettering. And so that's known as View the outline. So basically, if a object is set for a red fill, it puts a bit of red color behind it so that you can see where it belongs. If I turn that off, you basically see nothing. If I turn just the stitches on, you can see the stitches, but it doesn't have that red outline behind it. So that's the different thing. The design outline, the design stitches, the design stitch points. Okay. Also under the View menu is how you can turn on your sequence manager. That's the sequence manager there. And I just happen to have it closed. That's why it was not checked off. If I check if it is on, see now sequence manager's checked off. We could switch back to 3D preview if we want to. Also turned on are my rulers, my grid, my guidelines, and my hoop. So for example, if I zoom out, there's my embroidery hoop. If I don't want the embroidery hoop, View, hoop, click, it's gone. View, don't want the rulers, gone. View, don't want a grid, gone. View, don't want guidelines, gone. I didn't have any guidelines, but so you can turn those things on or off. It's up to you to decide what you want to have under display at any time under your View menu. So under here you also have your zoom in, zoom previous, and zoom all, which we looked already at in the zoom tool. I don't think I mentioned that they have the hotkeys, so zoom in is actually Z. And so if I type the letter Z, I'm not going to click it, I'll just type the letter Z and see I get the zoom box. If I type, I think it was F3, I get zoom previous. If I type F4, I go to show all, and I can find those under View, zoom, all is F4, F3 for zoom previous. So those are different ways that you can change your view. Also under the View drop-down menu is the toolbar, so we can see that all of our toolbars are turned on. If you're not using a toolbar, like the alignment toolbar, just turn it off, turn it on when you need it. One more thing under the View drop-down menu is the set light source. And if I go ahead and turn on this 3D preview, then the ability to set the light source becomes available. So if I turn on set light source, you'll see here, basically we get this three-dimensional globe. And this, I maybe need to scroll in a little bit so we can see it more clearly. If I change the light source, it changes the way the three-dimensional preview of the design is. So this is where it was. Now I've changed it to here. And you can say OK, or you can cancel it and just reset to the defaults. So that was the default light source. If you want to, you can change the light source, and you could save that as your default light source if you find that you like the way that appears, or you can just hit cancel and it'll go back to the way it was. So yeah, that's all of the different things that are found under your View drop-down menu.